Hello, everyone. We are here today in our 16th episode of SETA Tech Talks. And I'm very glad to be here with you today. And I'm even more glad because I have a very special panelist for us today. And we are going to discuss a very, very interesting topic. We are going to talk about Albania's AI policies and especially one of the most discussed topics lately, which is the first AI made minister. I'm glad to have here with us today Sebastian Zonja, who is a journalist based in Tirana, Albania. Thank you for accepting our invitation, Sebastian.
It's a pleasure being your host, Gloria.
Thank you. Let me introduce you very shortly, and then we are going to continue with a couple of questions about what's going on in Albania lately. Sebastian currently is working with MCN TV. With over a decade of experience, he has reported extensively on national and regional affairs, earning a reputation as a sharp analyst and articulate public speaker. His insightful perspectives on political and economic developments have made him a frequent guest on different talk shows, both in Albania and abroad, and we are lucky to have him today with us. Sebastian, without losing any time, I want to enter directly to the topic and ask you a little bit about Albania's AI policies. Um, as you know, like AI is emerging as a leading state in the region regarding AI, and not only through its national strategy that I think it's about, like, it's open for public opinion. It was open for public opinion, I think, during August, but now it's closed. And I think it will be announced in a short period of time. So, but it has taken also very direct actions in this regard in the last years. So let's talk a little bit about this policies and developments in general. Like, what is your point of view in this regard? How do you evaluate these developments?
First of all, hello and merhaba to all your viewers. And it's such a pleasure again. And according to what you said about the AI developments and the technological developments, I would say that we have entered a new epoch. We have entered a new kind of revolution. And this is how every state is encouraging its digital transformation, and every state in the world is going through this AI transformation, is going to go in a way or another. So what about Albania? Albania is a small country in the Balkans. It has nearly 2.5 million inhabitants nowadays, and it's 28,000 square meters, kilometers. So what did we do? We come from communism. This is something to say for your viewers. So when they first come to this show, they know what country we are talking about. We went through communism. We were kind of industrialized, and we went into a capitalist economy nearly 30 years ago. Nowadays, we have the first AI minister. At first, it's a kind of, in my opinion, as a journalist, I'd say it's a PR. It's a PR campaign for the prime minister. We are entering the European Union, so we haven't seen something in the field for this AI minister. But due to the fact that we have uh, kind of big problems with the corruption here in Albania, and we had kind of something like a big thought that the public procurements are going to be made from the AI. Everyone was talking all over the world about this AI minister, and everybody all over the world talks about corruption. And when you saw, for example, when it took the headlines in every newspaper all over the world, from the North Pole to Antarctica, everybody was writing down about an AI minister. And I was reading the comments. It's something like a curiosity to know, what do people think all around the world? And everybody was writing down. Some were afraid, some were funny, but everybody was writing, yeah, he doesn't take money, this kind of technology. They don't retire. They work anytime. They don't need money. They don't need water. They don't need food. So everybody was like thinking about efficiency. And we have entered this time, in my opinion, and AI, like ChatGPT, like let's say Grok, like I don't know, OpenAI, and something like that. Everybody is investing on them. And why? Because, as I said before, we are entering a new epoch. And why is Albania doing this? In my opinion, we need to get into this kind of hurry up to get into this train, because it's the digitalization epoch. And we've entered this, I would say, since 2010. We have had some public infrastructure, like the initiatives of Albania, of getting like digital certificates, like the biometric
For
passport.
for also our viewers, like I wanted to make like a kind of comparison, because we have the same system in Turkey as well, and it's called like e-devlet, which is like basically the same thing, like Albania, where we can take all the documents, like everything, like
Yeah.
from certificates and everything, we can take it in there, and it's very, very similar with the system in Albania.
This is how it works. First you digitalize, and then you take all these data and then you put them into something like, let's say, if you want to make an AI minister, if you want to put some money on the startups, if you want to fund the startups, if you want to, so all that, I would say, mostly of the applications in the AI want is the data. So if you have all the data somewhere, then you can either sell them if you are a private company, or either you can, I don't know, you can make some procurement with the government to get those data, and then you can work on them. So in this case, we are making the first AI minister. We haven't seen that in the field on what it's going to do, but there is
So,
two main.
Sebastian,
Yeah.
there is something that I wanted to ask you about this. Like, I'm a little bit confused, because I keep reading both in English and in Albanian. And is the fact that Dila, it is an AI made minister, or for the procurement in general, or is it that the AI minister, like the technology minister, because these are two different things, at least in my mind, like, and I'm not pretty sure where to put Dila, like as an AI minister or as an AI made minister for procurement.
Diela in Albanian means sun for all your
Son, yeah,
viewers.
yeah.
Yeah, it means the sun. So it's like an ancient Illyrian, let's say, a very ancient name. It's an AI minister, not the technological minister. We got the minister for technology, innovation, and something like that, but we have an AI minister. So for the viewers who don't understand so much about technology, is a room out there. There is some people who have some computers, who have ChatGPT and who have Grok and other things like that. And in this case, there is this kind of people who have an office nearby the prime minister. And when you go over there, me and you, for example, it's Sebastian and Gloria, they're going to apply for, let's say, build a road or build a highway or build a, I don't know, build a house. Something like that. And when we apply, I give my fund and I say, I can build this for €1,000,000. And you say, I can build this for €1,001,000. And the ChatGPT or this kind of AI minister is going to go over there and is going to say, what is the requirements? It has to be like this, like this, like this. And who has these requirements, Gloria or Sebastian? And they say, okay, we see that Sebastian has some of the requirements, but he has much higher value. And we see Gloria, who has all the requirements. She has kind of a lower value. Which one to take? It's either the value, the requirements, or something like that. And this AI minister is going to put, yeah, we have Gloria. She has all the requirements, and she can do this in this kind of fund that we have in this public procurement. So it's kind of to annihilate all the corruption. I don't think it's going to be annihilated, but in my opinion, it's somehow like to annihilate the corruption. As I said before, in my opinion, this is kind of a trick for entering the European Union. And the European Union, the core problem that the European Union has with the Balkans, for example, if you see some days ago, the European Parliament passed a resolution about Serbia, and everything was about democracy and this public procurement, the state capture.
The corruption, like in general.
The corruption. Yeah, what does it say about Albania? Fight the corruption. So how do we fight the corruption better? If we make an AI minister, if there is somebody over there and we can say, it's not somebody who has put down if Gloria or Sebastian is going to win this kind of public fund, but it's the AI minister that we have. I think if we put it correctly, it can work. It can work okay. It can do a very good job. It's like, in my opinion, is the first best thing that we did in this kind of 30 years. We have this kind of digitalization. Now we have an AI minister. But what does it mean for having an AI minister in Albania? And is there a future for this kind of developing the AI, developing the technologies here in Albania? There is two things that you can do nowadays. You can copy the innovation, or you can do the innovation. But for for copying the innovation, you need to have very professional labor, so skilled professionals. And I can say in Albania there is some, but for thinking in these terms, in my opinion, we had to be planning this since 20 years ago. We didn't do that. We have a high rate of immigration. So you were kind of, as I know you, straight A student, very clever girl, but nowadays you're in Turkey. So it has happened to many clever girls and boys here in Albania. You can see them in Turkey, you can see them in Germany, you can see them in the States. What does the government nowadays want? Let's talk about some policies that we want to do. They want to do something like a technological park. What's the technological park? The technological park is when Gloria wants to come to Albania, when Sebastian wants to go back to Albania, he's living in the States, he's living in Britain, I don't know, something like that. When he wants to go back to Albania, he can start a startup. And this kind of technological park that the government wants to build, you can start a startup and you can have the funds for your idea. You can build, I don't know, some medical issues, some medical things, applications with AI. You can build some, I don't know, mechanical things for solving maths problems, or I don't know, something like that. And then you can go to this park. You have zero taxes and you have this kind of incentives. And so, but how can you do that? You can everybody knows that for being a productive state, you need to have labor, capital, and technology. This is the three main components that we know since, I don't know, centuries. So moving capital in Albania is somehow hard to find. We don't have venture capitalists over here. And technology, we are a kind of digitalized state. I can say that in this kind of e-Albania and other issues, we are much somehow more advanced than Greece, but we are not more advanced than, let's say, Italy, who is in the European Union. But we have other problems in this case. And what about skilled labor, skilled professionals? We don't have so many. We haven't been thinking about that since, I don't know, 20 or 30 years ago. We had to be thinking about that. You know the history of Skype. It's only three guys, yeah, sitting down, having some laptops, having some internet, and thinking, how can we make people see each other and communicate? And they made this application and they sold it for billions of dollars. So what you just need is some person, an idea, and some internet. And for making this work, you have to have some market capital, some moving capital, some venture capitalists for investing in your idea. But what do we have here in Albania? We have the state who says, yeah, Gloria is a very clever girl. We're going to give her money. Sebastian, I don't like him so much. We are not going to give him money. So it works like this somehow. And but
it
the
is.
prime
It
minister,
depends. Like for example, in different states, some of the states have like the example of U.S. They have the venture capitalists, but on the other hand, there are different states like China, for example, that they do have venture capitalists, but the states control everything in there. And there are other states that are in the middle, like both the VCs and the state interfering. So in the case of Albania, then we can say that the state is more like trying to control the technological development, but not as a policy, but due to the lack of the VCs in there, most probably.
yeah, I can say that. There is, yeah, you explained it very, very, very clearly. And it's like, yeah, it's like that. We have the state capitalism in China, and we have this kind of free market capitalism in the States. Let's say it like that. But yeah, there is some states in the middle. I know
Yeah.
about Turkey, for example, there is some venture capitalists over there. There is the government pushing by for this technology.
Yeah, both
You
of
have,
them go together in
yeah,
here.
you have the AI drones, and we see about Europe. Europe is thinking about that. The European Union, what to do about that? There is not so much moving capital, venture capitalists. It's many, but what Turkey has, in my opinion, is doing more. You got more engineers over there, and in another way, the population is at a young age, so you can have skilled professionals over there, and you don't have to think about the retirement and pensions and something like that. It's something else that's happening in Europe
Yeah.
nowadays. So we are focusing more into Europe, and this is kind of the problems that we see in Europe, and this is kind of the problems that we have nowadays in Albania. 20 years ago, the medium age in Albania was kind of 27 up to 30. Now it's 42.3,
Oh,
40.
that's very high.
That's very high. So
I didn't have an idea about that, but that's very high. Yeah.
So we are aging. We are not aging because we don't want to have children. We are family oriented, but we're aging because there is a high rate of immigration here in Albania. And that's the core issue about having kind of a digitalized or technological state, somehow putting like this. You have to have skilled workers. You have to have 10x engineers, let's say, like let's put it this way. And if, for example, you either you want to copy an invention, either you want to do an invention, either you want to work outsourcing for big tech companies like, I don't know, Microsoft or Apple or something like that. The main thing is skilled professionals. We don't have so many. What the
Yeah.
government is saying, yeah, we have so many abroad. Mira Murati, for
Yeah,
example, one
right.
of,
And we have Albania has an agreement that has financed also the government, which is very interesting fact. Like the government itself has financed in Mira Murati's company. I think it was 8 billion euros or something, approximately $10 billion, if I'm not wrong, something like that.
it's a private equity nowadays. Everybody
Yeah.
is investing in AI. Let's hope it's not a bubble. It's somehow like talking all over the web, and the people are talking about technological bubble. I don't think it's kind of a big technological bubble, but if we see the supply chains and something like that, everything is moving nowadays. And look at this. Microsoft is investing at Apple. Apple is investing in OpenAI, and OpenAI is investing in Microsoft. Everybody is investing in these companies.
Like
It's
the
like,
chain, right?
yeah, it's kind of this close circular economy. Let's put it this way. But yeah, we invested in this private equity. It's gonna go. I think the next year, Mira Murati is gonna go into the market, and let's hope she's doing something great. What does this mean? That yeah, uh, you can have something like this kind of investments over there. But what can you do for it? In my opinion, she was the CTO about of the Open AI. You can train some Albanians over there. So we have the universities over here, and I don't know, you can make some kind of contract or something like that. You can pay for that contract, you can for the internship, and so you're gonna put some Albanians studying or doing an internship in one of the, let's say, good, best, better kind of company in the world about AI solving
Yeah.
and this kind of inventions. This is something good. I don't know if there is some contract like this, but as I'm saying, the main thing is having skilled professionals. We're talking about engineers nowadays. If you There was a podcast of Tim Cook some months ago. He was saying something like this: we don't go to China because there is cheap labor nowadays. We go to China because there is kind of the best engineers in the world. So this is what Tim Cook was saying some months ago. So the
Yeah,
skilled,
I was in China a couple of weeks ago, and I was surprised to see that previously a huge number of students used to go from China to the United States and study there, and they didn't come back. But in the last years, because like the education system was increased and there were a lot of investments in this area, now the Chinese students do not prefer very much to go abroad, or even if they go abroad, there is a very huge possibility that they are going to return to China back. So this is like very good policies for the brain drain, something that maybe Albania needs to take into consideration as well for in terms of the technological development and the brain drain, I guess.
Yeah, from brain drain, we need to get to brain gain somehow.
Yes,
So
exactly.
yeah.
There,
So
there were
and
things about this in the AI strategy, by the way. Like they were written. You mentioned like the techno parks that Albania is trying to do and stuff like that. But I was wondering, do you think that they will be effective to bring the youth back to Albania?
we can write beautiful things. So it's very hard. I want to stay optimistic, but it's somehow hard. And as I was mentioning before, uh, yeah, you can build technological parks, but somehow, let's say, when mm, somebody who is a 5x, 10x engineer who comes for here in Albania, and he wants to build his idea, you are gonna go through some walls, institutional and bureaucratic walls. It's not something that you like magic. You do this, and then you build this kind of technological park, a techno park, and everybody is gonna come. It's gonna take time, in my opinion. Uh, it's gonna take some time. I'm optimistic about the thing that, yeah, our prime minister is thinking about, and the government and the opposition and everybody is
That's one
thinking
step.
about.
That's
That's
one step at
that's
least, right?
that's a big that's a big step. That's a very big step. Everybody is thinking that, yeah, about technology. We should think about technology. It's kind of when the industrial revolution started centuries ago. The first who understood that this is a revolution, it was the countries who uh, had made a good economy. Let's put it this way. And those who didn't get into this train, they didn't go so far in this kind of industrial revolution. Even nowadays, in my opinion, as I see it, we have reinvented fire.
Yeah.
Centuries and millennia ago, it was the fire, and it was the wheel, and the humanity went from that point up to this point. We have reinvented power. We have reinvented the fire. So in this case, it's a new beginning. In my opinion, it's a good thinker. Mustafa Suleimani, I think, is either Turkish or Syrian, something like that. He has a book about this, and he says this. We have reinvented fire. We have found fire. This is the AI. It's the beginning of something, and the countries, the cities, the people who understand this, in my opinion, digitalizing is the first step. There is some fears about this. Everybody has to be feared about this. I think it's legitimate to be feared about, to fear this kind of issues, because look at this. We have Diela, the first AI minister, and let's go 50 years after. You want a judge who is an AI judge, for example, who has no emotions?
Also for that, like we were in another program together a couple of weeks ago, and the thing that I started to think about was that, okay, we have Dila and we're using her for corruption, but still that there are humans behind this, like there are the data that are given to Dila that train her are given by humans. So if this data is biased, Dila itself will be biased as well, so
Sure.
still there is like the corruption thing, and this may create some question marks in there, like Dila's how can I say, Dila's response or decisions may be free of corruption as much as the decision or the data given by the people behind it are free of corruption. So like this kind of creates a circle in there and raises a lot of questions, like about the future in this regard, like I don't know, like it's something that needs to be taken into consideration, I guess.
Yeah, this is kind of a problem nowadays. Everybody's talking about this in the technological sphere. Is this kind of question that everybody is making: is the AI being suffocated because it has scrapped all the internet? Everything, every data that is in the internet. What can it do more? Because when you produce many things with this kind of AI applications, let's say, for example, ChatGPT, you produce an article, and that then this article that's being produced from ChatGPT is going to go into ChatGPT, and ChatGPT is going to suffocate with the own things that it has produced. So this is kind of a problem. So as we were saying, we got the data, the people are managing the data, we give this kind of data, and this is this kind of output. I think that somehow we are gonna pass this point and go into a point of no return in, let's say, 10 or 15 years. We're gonna go into AGI, artificial general intelligence. So we are gonna have autonomous intelligence. It's the first time in humanity, in our history, that we are gonna have an intelligence. I'm not gonna say species. It's kind of a robot. The species is only us. We're gonna have a kind of an autonomous robot. What is Elon Musk trying to do, for example, nowadays? He is trying to make an autonomous car. So you're sitting over there, and you write down, "Come here and take me to this place. Please send this, I don't know, present to this other guy or this other girl, buy this book over there." So the autonomous car is going to do that. So let's put forward this kind of thing, and we're going to go into AGI. It's kind of a new thing. It's kind of a new economy. For example, what's going to be done with the labor if you got a robot who somehow does this, anything that you want. It was an experiment. Right? Yeah, these tasks, yeah. So there was an experiment like, I think a month ago, done at Google. It was something like this. It was 1 or 2 robots, but I think one. He had kind of a neural brain with ChatGPT, or kind of with connected with wireless and so, and they were put in a kitchen, and somebody did buy everything for the kitchen. There was a refrigerator, and they were put on the table the eggs, the knife, sugar, anything, a book, and everything like that. And the task was put them in order. I think that, for example, if this kind of small robot would put the knife in the refrigerator, but no, it put the eggs in the refrigerator at its own place. Why? Because doing some kind of research, so millions and millions of kitchens around the world, and it was like, the input is, I have the eggs, the output is, where should I put them? And I put them in the refrigerator. Now, as you said before, we got the data, and this data is being managed by the people, and the people are going to put bad data, and there is going to be bad decisions. But when you have this kind of autonomy, this kind of autonomous way of thinking, and I don't know, judging, but kind of thinking, you get different results. And where do we as people differ? In my opinion, we differ in the imagination. This is something that for a very long time, in my opinion, the robots are not going to have. This is what is
the empathy, the emotions, and everything.
This is what differs us, and this is what is going to differ us for a long time. This AI minister that we have, as we said before, is some people on the other room. They have the data, they put the data, and this kind of AI minister makes all these decisions. It's much more clever. It's much more efficient. You don't need to go all around the papers for thousands and thousands of papers, and so it's very, very, very efficient. But as I was saying, putting it in a philosophical way, I think that what we have is the imagination. All the innovations come from the imaginations. As Einstein put it, you can go from A to B using logic and using this kind of maths, doing these equations, but only imaginations sends you from A to Z, from A to X. So using imaginations is our thing. For example, how did we build the first computer? How did we build the first how did Bill Gates go over there and build the first computer, the first company? Yeah, he did that because there was a wall. Capitalism was having some problems in the 70s and in the 80s. There was the big crash, and so. But he imagined something. He saw something beyond. he opened doors where there were walls. And who does this? In my opinion, people do it. And we don't do this only from data. So we get the data, we go to school, we learn 1 + 1 is 2, we learn A, B, C, D, etc., etc. No, we think outside the box. We open doors where there is a wall. This is my opinion.
Thank you, Sebastian. I wanted to go back a little bit to Albania. I know we don't have much time, but I don't want to skip this question. Like, which sector? We talked about the policies, the strategies, and like in general. And what do you think? Like, which sector will be affected the most in Albania?
First is going to be this kind of public procurement. We have this kind of digital certificates. We have the biometric passports nowadays, and in my opinion, the first sector that is going to be affected is the finance. The finances is going to be affected. Afterwards, in my opinion, is going to go to the universities. We're going to digitalize everything into the universities. The public institutions and the administrations, in my opinion, is going to get this kind of digitalization. We're going to go step by step, in my opinion. So to put it short, the core institution, the core field, the core thing that is going to be digitalized and that is going to be affected with this AI minister is the finances. We got a problem over there. And as I was mentioning before, the aim is to enter the European Union, and the finances is going to be the core field that is going to be affected by this AI minister. The others are going to be affected too, because if you affect, for example, the finances, if you have some kind of transparency, more transparency over there, people are going to build trust in this spender of public finances, and this building of trust is going to make them think that we need this to go over there in this kind of different institution, different field, in this kind of different field. But building trust in the finances so people can trust that this kind of public money is being spent well, is being spent on these issues, is being spent, the public procurement is not having so much corruption. So in my opinion, is a good thing, and this is the main field that is going to be affected.
Thank you for that. You mentioned a little bit like the impact that the technology has on states, and I've been writing for that for very long time. And I do argue that for all the states that are going to take advantage of the AI and use it effectively, they will have the chance to change the positioning within the international system. Like, in the international relations, we do classify the states as the leading or like the industrial states, or the first group and the second and the third world state. There are different names that we can put them. Sometimes we call them the middle states and small states and great powers, for example. So, and I generally argue that right now, for those states that are taking advantage of the AI effectively, I emphasize this, they will have the possibility to move, for example, from small states to middle states, or from middle states to great powers. And I see like the greatest opportunity during that time right now. So, like, taking into consideration Albania's policies and what's going on in the region, how do you see, will this AI wave that's going on in Albania, or digitalization wave that's going on in Albania, have an impact in its foreign policy in terms of the Balkan region in general?
There's going to be needed a long way to go where you think. I agree with what you think. It's like, but the main competition is China and the States, and like a medium power going for great power like Turkey, for example, it has the capabilities. You need to have the army. You need to have this kind of. It's for going from medium to great, from small to medium. International relations is kind of, in my opinion, as complicated as you said. About Albania, we can become a hotspot. We can become an economical hub, for example. We have the sea. Serbia, for example, is a big regional power. They don't have a sea. They are landlocked. Macedonia, they are landlocked. And the other Albanians in Kosovo, the second Albanian state in the Balkans, they are landlocked. So we go into the as Albanians, we go into the Mediterranean, from Ionian Sea to the Mediterranean. So we have this access in the sea. What we can do nowadays is like, yeah, we can become an economical hub if we incentivize the youngsters into this kind of new economy, digital economy. Yeah, we can become the regional hub. And if you become a regional hub and if you know how to spend the money, yeah, you can become a regional power, in my opinion. It has a long way to go, but surely it can inflict this kind of international relations. If we go this way, if we fight the corruption, if we build somehow like effective army, it's not about building a big army, but an effective army in this kind of troubled days that we are going through with the wars. And if we become kind of economical hub or a beautiful place for all the people to come and live here, to come and work here, to come and spend here, to come
For
and
investments as well, right? Like foreign investments.
for investments as well. Yeah, we can do that. It needs a long road. It needs a big planning. It needs strong institutions, in my opinion, and it needs adaptive institutions, because we have kind of this traditional way of thinking about the institutions. You need to put down some bureaucracies so you can have this kind of things. And most of the problems that we see nowadays, in my opinion, about what we say is the problem of democracy, is the problem of the liberalism, is the problem of conservatism, is the problem of institutions. Nowadays we have this kind of applications. The news goes in seconds all over the world, and we want things. We want things much more faster. Things move much more faster. So the institutions need to adapt. If we can do this, in my opinion, in the next 20 years or 30 years, yeah, we can become a regional power, and AI can affect that. If we put Diela nowadays into work, in 20 years we will see that, yeah, we can put that in another field. It can innovate in something else. It can do something great for the academical institutions. It can do something great about mechanical institutions. I don't know. So in this case, yeah, I think if you get some power inside, so if you change the society from within, the way of thinking about yourself, if you think that you are kind of regional power and you have all these dots that you have this kind of things, in my opinion, yeah, you can become one. So yeah, AI can inflict this kind of international relations. And it's a good question. I haven't been thinking about that very much, but it's a very, very, very good question.
Thank you. And now, like we talked about the region in the Balkans, so I wanted to shift a little bit towards Turkey. Do you think that taking into consideration these AI developments, and we know that Turkey has been doing a lot in terms of technology lately, do you think that there are ways of cooperation, possibilities of cooperation between Albania and Turkey right now?
We've been cooperating, in my opinion, as I know of the documents that I've seen and of colleagues that I've asked in Turkey and here in Albania. We have been cooperating in military issues. We've been cooperating into investments and economical issues. But there is very, very, very big, in my very huge fields of cooperation with Turkey. For example, you have some of the best universities in the world in, let's say, engineers, of mathematics, of computer sciences, and so. I think for having some internships, for having some people coming over there and studying, for having this kind of cooperation, we are strategic partners. We have a long story that goes centuries ago with the Ottoman Empire and with Turkey. And in this case, yeah, we can do great for cooperating with Turkey. You have this kind of, in my opinion, you are kind of the best in the world for building drones with AI. So you got this you enter this room and you now are the best in this room for this kind of warfare method with drones, and you build them in high quality, low prices. This is the best thing a country can do: build high quality and low prices. And yeah, I think it's very, very big chances that and huge fields that we can cooperate. And
Yeah,
for being
I
such,
think so. Like the governments need to take into consideration that, because like the culture, the history, and the politics right now, like everything like seems to fit very good with each other, I guess, and that would allow like more area for cooperation for both of the states. Maybe it would be a win-win situation both for Turkey and for Albania, I guess.
we can use Turkey because Turkey, in my opinion, is kind of a very friendly country. And I would say that there is kind of beneficiary we can have from each other. So in a way, we are entering the European Union, and we can be kind of the door that Turkey enters the European Union throughout Albania. You have your own politics, you have your own international relations, your policies, economical and so. But we have a great friend, a great power, a great friend in the Mediterranean, and so we can benefit from each other. So we can benefit from your know-how about technology, your know-how about artificial intelligence, your know-how about military, your know-how about diplomacy and history, etc., etc. And we're a small country, and we can be kind of a diplomatic voice of Turkey in the European Union. We can be somehow like a good friend of Turkey in the European Union. We have been friends for decades and centuries. So, in my opinion, it can be something that benefits us both. As you said, culturally, yeah, we have this. We go centuries with this kind of culture. Albania has its uh, Islamic culture, and if you see that Albania has its way of thinking, like or way of talking about things and way of doing things, like all of the Balkans over here. So yeah, if our friendship goes centuries, so why not cooperate even on these fields? We are entering this new epoch, as I said. And the best thing, as we say in Albania, it's very good to have friends, and you always have to have friends. And in my opinion, why not a very good friend like Turkey for going all together into this new era, new epoch? And as I said before, you have the know-how, we have the vitality, we have we are entering the European Union. We can benefit from each other, sure.
Right, right. Thank you, Sebastian. Thank you very much. I have already finished all the questions that I had about Albania and about the regional and foreign affairs and so on. But I do have one last question, which I always do to all of the speakers that are in my program in here. And it is generally related with the youth. So, and it is kind of suggestion for them. And we touched a little bit upon the issue of the young people returning to Albania, and I wanted to connect this with the Turkish youth. And what kind of advice would you offer to encourage both Albanian and the Turkish youth to return and to contribute to the technological ecosystems of their respective countries?
Read as more as you can, so you become a better human. If you become a better human, you are good for your own society and you are good for your own country. So, as much as we need this kind of powerful countries, at the same time, in my opinion, we need a peaceful world. We are heading toward some conflicts. We are heading towards some crazy things going on. But in my opinion, read as more as you can, be humble, and everything is gonna come, and everything is gonna be good. Everything. The moment that, in my opinion, we think that we are the best, the moment that we think that we can do best, the moment that we don't think about the other, I don't know, if you are religious, think that God, the first thing that he says is be humble. If you are not religious, the first thing is be humble and read something. The first message in Quran is Ikra, And the first word in the Bible is first it was the words, and the first thing that we can do for this kind of Illuminism progress that is going for the 2 centuries is read something so you can become a better human. So in my opinion, you can believe anything that you want, you can live anywhere that you want. Doing something good for your country is a very good thing, and doing something good for humanity is the best thing you can do. So you can be good for the both at the same time.
Thank you very much, Sebastian. It was very inspiring saying indeed, which we need all to take into consideration. I'm feeling a little bit ashamed because it's been a long time that I've left Albania, but maybe one day I will be coming back, and we'll be more, how can I say, effective for Albania. But still, like, even being in here, I do feel, for example, like trying to help both of the states, maybe also Turkey and Albania at the same time. So as you mentioned, like wherever we are, it's important that we're good and we do something good for both of all the states. Thank you very much, Sebastian, and for joining me in this program today, and for answering all of the questions. And I hope we have kind of creating a general idea on where Albania stands, and what can we expect in the future, not just for Albania, but for AI in general as well, and decision making as well. So thank you very much for joining here today. And I hope you had a great interview. Hope to see you in other programs maybe soon. And at the same time, I wanted to thank all of the viewers, our viewers today, and all that have been with us throughout all this period. This was our 16th episode, and we're going to have other episodes very soon, and hope to see you in the other episodes as well. Thank you very much for your support, and have a great day.